Hello and welcome to the See Me Be Me podcast. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Tyler Rousseau from the United States. Welcome to the See Me Be Me podcast, Tyler.
Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. So Tyler, can you tell our audience who you are and a little bit about your background and how you went on the journey that you are on now?
Yeah, who I am. Well, I'm the son of Leroy and Alcidine Rousseau. I grew up in Virginia. I got into cars really early at a young age, at like probably 4 years old, because my dad was a diesel mechanic in the Marine Corps. So I was around cars like very early on in my life. I grew up and eventually joined the Marine Corps myself. And that kind of is what led me out here to the West Coast. Yeah, from that point on, I got out of the Marine Corps and I started doing car sales. So I would sell, I went to, dealerships
Wow.
around the area and be like, oh man, yeah, there's a lot of cars here. Let me, try to sell those. And then kind of got like tired of being in the town I was in because it was really small and I just, wanted to do more things. And so I moved to LA and I started working for a film producer for a little bit. And then maybe about a year and a half in, I found a program where I could utilize my GI Bill, and I went to film school with that bill. And so I stopped working for him, and then I just fully went into like the LA Film School, and then from there I met like a couple of business partners that I worked with, and we started a production company. We had a couple of films that went in the Cannes Film Festival that we shot right out of film school. Yeah, from that point on, I got heavily into film production, from producing, gaffing, from everything, commercials, music videos, feature films, and throughout my whole course of living here, of course, cars are a major part in the California culture. So eventually that snowballed into me gearing my filmmaking now into the automotive world. So I can basically I got to combine the two passions, that I grew up loving.
Interesting journey. And I suppose going back to when you were little is, from when, if you take you back to like when you were 6 years old, was the Marines something is that what you set your goals on at that very young age, or was there other things that you had in mind that you wanted to be?
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely did not want to be going into the Marine Corps. I wanted to race cars. I was geared up. I kind of got primed early because when I was in school, like in the early 90s, mid 90s, like I had friends that were stationed in Japan and would come back over, and one of them brought like a best motoring tape, I had a bunch like some option 2 videos and things like this, Initial D on VHS and stuff like this. So I was introduced very young into the culture. And yeah, that's really where my focus was. I got into like art and drawing and then photography and film, stuff like that. So I kind of got into that in high school. So those passions sparked, the film and stuff sparked way back early in the day. But yeah, it all kind of snowballed into what it is today.
And just going back to your childhood, Tyler, who were some of like your role models and your idols growing up?
Oh man, Ken Griffey Jr. I played T-ball and baseball, so I was like a big Ken Griffey Jr. But I was also like in racing, like Ayrton Senna, like was like one of the first persons that I got to know who they were, through my dad and stuff like this. So it was pretty cool having having all kinds of race and watching Michael Schumacher come up through the ranks and all that stuff too.
Yeah, the Schumacher was mine as well. Just hearing his backstory and the dragging Ferrari back up to the glory days. That's the person who inspired me to go down the career racing as well. So just really inspiring hearing their stories.
Yeah.
And then,
so going from that, going from it's a great and fabulous circle. Your story of starting off really young, working on cars, fixing them, but also having that passion to want to race, and then transitioning into going into filmmaking and creating content and now you're back in the automotive world, filming racing. How has that been?
A little bit surreal because it's kind of seeing a lot of things come full circle. Yeah, it's been very rewarding, and also it kind of gives me confidence to keep doing what I'm doing. You know.
Yeah.
And talk us through. You said you've done some. You've gone and created some content, some films that have appeared at the Cannes Festival. What were some of those films?
Well, there were two short films, like called Green is Red. It was like a story about like the destruction of war and what it does to families, and kind of shows the human side of things, of what it both does, like on both sides. And the other one was called Ugly Flower. It was about, like a kid who was going through like the emotions of someone older passing away and stuff like this. So he was dealing with that. And it was kind of crazy because that director turns out, like 10 years later, we ended up doing a film that he wrote during this time period. And we had just now released that feature film in Colombia that we shot of that script. And it was similar. It's kind of similar in the same vein of the first story I told you. It shows what happened with the Colombian conflict with the government and the FARC, and what the people went through down there. So it's kind of a similar situation with the story of just kind of showing like wars, how bad war really is. You know what I mean? Some of the people who maybe get pulled in on each side, but not knowing the real things that are going on, behind the scenes.
The skills to be a director. What would you say if you had to give some advice to a younger person who was looking to get into the industry? What 3 core skills would you say are vital?
Listening and understanding what the other departments do within the set are key, because that's going to give you a big understanding of time, how time is going to go on the set. If you're asking for things that are going to take multiple hours from a department, but you don't know that as a director, or you can't comprehend why things are taking so long because you don't know what each department entails in some type of way. These are that's definitely a strong suit. Communication with your crew, communication with the actors and talent that you're working with are pretty key. And then knowing the material that you're working with, I would say, would be the top 3.
And earlier, Tyler, you're saying you're from Virginia and you made the move to Los Angeles.
Yeah,
and that was where to pursue like education in film. So, well, what were your thoughts leaving home to pursue your dream and just going into an area that you'd never been into before? What was that experience like?
That was pretty cool, because like I went in after 9/11, after that happened, after the Twin Towers got hit. I was just like, oh man, what could I do? You know what I mean? Like whatever. So I just ended up going in. I did my 4 years, but that was cool. And in the Marines, I did some crazy stuff, man. It was really cool. It was some high speed stuff. It was I was a 7011 EAF. So I did crash fire rescue. Basically, what we did is, you are familiar with like aircraft carriers. When the jet lands, we would catch the jets in the arresting gear and bring them to safety, basically stopping them from going off the edge. But we did that also like on land as well, and expeditiously. So we would drop, like, let's say mobile matting down from like airplanes, and they would land on the field, and then we break those apart and like lay out a runways, basically, so birds can come in, land, refuel, rearm, and go back up and fight. But they'll do that like in a mobile zone or something like this, which is really cool. But so like in that area, we would basically build the arresting gear, do monthlies and quarterlies on them. And then we also would do like the navigation system. Basically would send a signal up to the plane if he were to black out, the pilot was to black out, he or she, and it would bring the plane down to a trajectory of our arresting gear and stuff like this. So it was really cool. It was a really, really cool job. But There's not a lot of stuff in the civilian world, not a lot of people flying tail-hooked aircraft. So yeah, I had to figure out something else to do when I got out, which was, making films.
And in terms of where you are now, so you're the founder of Cova Pictures. So would you be able to take us through your organization and then why you set it up?
Yeah, that's what my business partner Mateo from film school, who I told you we did everything through. But yeah, we started that back in 2018. Started doing music videos and commercials, and then we moved directly into feature films.
Yeah,
and we just did that one in Colombia. Now we got a best audience choice in the San Diego International Film Festival, and then we just released it, like I was telling you, in Colombia on the 17th of this month.
I was just looking at because you've recently, well, in the last few years, you've done work with people such as Snoop Dogg, French Montana, Ronda Rousey. So of the individuals that you've worked with in the past, all those big names, who's been probably the most standout or the standout person that you've worked with in your career?
Oh man, yes. I mean, when you said Snoop Dogg, how can you deny Snoop Dogg, man? Yeah, I got to work with him twice, so it's been really cool working with him, seeing him on set, and he's always spitting knowledge every time we're there. But yeah, man, got to work with him, Busta Rhymes, Fat Joe.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys are legends.
I want to ask the question: which music videos did you shoot for Snoop Dogg?
It was called Woofer. It was with an Indian artist, and we did it here downtown in downtown LA.
Zora was that name? Zora. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I suppose with your filmmaking background, Tyler, what 3 films inspired you to go into filmmaking? Or what's your top 3 favorite films of all time?
Oh man, that's hard. You're gonna put me on the spot like that. Man, that's a good question. I don't know, man. It changes. Well, inspired me from back in the day. I don't know. I would probably say I was a big Star Wars fan growing up as a kid. I really liked Star Wars, so it really kind of set the stage of imagination. So I would have to give that, some credit back in the day.
Old school Star Wars or the new chapter?
Yeah. Well, the old school Star Wars, like the OG
old school.
Because when that came out, that's all we had. Like I remember when the X3 came out, that was a new thing. So I was like, all right, but nah, it was cool. Like movies like that let you see how big things can go.
I mean, if you just said the OG trilogy, that's 3 films right there.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much because those were they were out before. Basically, I was really watching it. So yeah, back to back, Indiana Jones and all those joints, man. Yeah. All the big Spielberg joints. Yeah.
Who are some of your who inspired you as directors? Who are some of your favorite directors?
Yo, Antoine Fuqua, man, that dude killed it. Training Day is my movie, so yeah, I really mess with him.
Where else in the world have you shot music videos or films?
Yeah,
I know you've been to Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia, Mexico. I shot in I don't know this artist. IMDb?
No.
Artist from London. Yeah, she's really dope. I shot like a little mini doc for her in Brazil, and we went like Sao Paulo and Rio, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, London, Austria, all these crazy places over there. Yeah.
Where's your favorite place?
Monaco, man. I just did a music video over in Monaco. That joint was real cool. I've
seen on your feed that you've been to a few of the Formula One Grand Prix as well in recent years. Yeah. So which of the Grand Prix have you been to?
Austin. I've been to Austin a few times here, but I want to go to Vegas. I'm going to try to make it to Vegas this year.
And so, Tyler, I imagine some of our audience are probably listening to this and thinking, do you know, what does an average day look like for somebody like yourself who is a film director? Talk us through.
Yeah, well, average day is usually working on something that I've done the previous day or something like this. That's to start off with, like usually half the day. and then just either putting down, creating up new ideas, because I shoot a lot of car content. I shoot a lot of I do a lot of photo shoots and stuff like this. So I'm always planning shoots, arranging, setting up cars for like the next day, and then I'm usually editing the film or video, and then also editing the what I want to do in my mind coming up. So yeah, I mean, mostly is and then reaching out, setting up meetings and for new projects and things like this, and creating space and time to create.
And in terms of team size, how big let's say on an average shoot, how big is the team?
Oh yeah, it depends. I can go from like a 7-8 person shoot to 30-person shoot, depending on the size of the set. But yeah, it always just depends on what the actual scale of the set is.
And now, like a music video, people just see 2-3 minutes long, or maximum sometimes 4 minutes long is the music video. There's a lot of work that goes into creating that video. What is the sort of lengths of filming a music video? Is it a day, 2 days? What's the general?
Yeah, it definitely, and back to depending on like the scope of the vision of the whole thing, how many scenes, how intricate they are, if it's like you're shooting overnight, but and then that'll entail like also like what is the shot list and what do you need there? Is it like a 1-person shoot? Like yesterday or 2 days ago, I did like a music video. I did a photo shoot, and then the artist was like, yo, we should just shoot a clip, and I made that. Like we had like maybe 2 takes before the sun left, and I just shot a whole music video on that with that, and you can do something like this if it fit the song, it fit like the vibe and the mood, and that worked really well. But then there's other times you have to tell intricate stories, so it could be like a 2-day shoot, 3-day shoot, something like this where it's pretty big or heavy in like stunts or post After Effects, so you have to do maybe a lot of green screen work. So it varies on the type of project you're doing.
Because obviously we've been following your journey for a very long time now via Instagram, and it seems, as well as being a film director, you're also doing work in Europe for I believe it's the GT4 European series. Photo shoots. And are you doing a bit of driving yourself as well, or is it just strictly for the photo shoot as well? or test driving any of those cars?
Nah, man. So I'm filming a documentary on Jordan Wallace. So last year he raced in the DTM series, DTM Trophy series, but he was the first Black African American driver to drive in that series. So I was like, yo, man, we need to do a documentary on you, man. And the world needs to see that. So we started doing a documentary about the journey of his racing over in Europe. That's what led me over to this year, because he's racing in the SRO. So he's in the GT4 and the Porsche with Allied Racing.
Yeah.
And so we're following him this season. And then hopefully next season, we take it somewhere, GT3, Super Trofeo, Porsche Super Cup.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. So I'll have to keep a lookout for him. So see how far he can get up in his career. And then just going back to you yourself, though, Tyler, in terms of setting up a business in the film industry, did you encounter any barriers that to stop you from getting where you wanted to get to?
No, in some type of way. No, I mean, you set your LLC and you kind of just organize what you want to do. And I think there are barriers. I mean, I think financially there are things that you can see that you want to move that you may not have at the time, but you you kind of set your goals and say, what is it going to take to get here, and plot it out. And I think it's definitely, it's nothing easy about it, but I don't know. I think I said yes when I could say no. I mean, but I think looking back in comparison to some of the things that, it's not really an issue. You dig down and set your goals and accomplish it. Maybe look at the vision that you have and, pick a way to get there.
I guess more personal question to yourself. What would you say has been the proudest moment of your career thus far?
That's a great question. I think The proudest, I think, moment is just when people write me and be like, "Hey, oh, you inspire me. Like, keep doing what you're doing," or like, or they check out whatever I'm doing, and or my photos, or like the trips overseas. I think that's really the highest form is inspiration, and if I can leave my mark or help inspire somebody to go and do something that they weren't initially thinking they could do, I think
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing.
Let's say as a young person, or even as an adult who might be in a chosen career but is looking to change and has always wanted to get into the filmmaking industry. As a writer or a filmmaker, you've come up with a script, you've got this great idea, you need someone to finance it, a producer to finance it, to get the ball rolling. How do you go about with getting that one off the ground and getting somebody to commission your script?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is to make sure you have a concise piece, like something that somebody would want to invest in that can see a solid project. That's going to be number one, because that's going to help you the most. Like if you have something that's not put together well or is not really connecting with whoever's going to read that first 10 pages of your script, that's going to be the most important part. Once you have that, it can vary. Like it could be family, you can crowdfund, you could, for the funding, you could be a really great networker and build yourself a network, either online or in presence of your community, or going outside your community, to raise funds, and putting forth proper pitch decks and stuff like this are really what are going to help push the project when it comes to having someone join and invest in your project.
Is that something that you taught yourself along the way, Tyler? Like crowdfunding and like raising funding? If that's just where you started out on your journey, it's kind of like learning it on the journey.
I tell myself, and but I also like learned and watched. Like crowdfunding at the time was like when it first started happening, is like just paying attention to what's happening out there and seeing what your options are.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something outside of crowdfunding we had to learn and go network and meet people and sell them on yourself, sell them on the project.
The next question I'm going to ask, Tyler, is quite a controversial one, and it's been in the news recently with the actors' strikes over AI looking to be used within the filmmaking industry to almost to use lower paid actors' faces so that they can use them in films and not pay them initially, those individuals, but for future films they don't have to. And now we've seen things like ChatGPT and now fully embedded in the work streams across all industries. I've seen people been able to create scripts or books using AI. Do you think this will be a huge challenge within the film industry in terms of writers? They might not get those opportunities anymore because AI can do it themselves, or these film producers can just be like, right, well, AI's done that, I can just roll with that. And two, do you think there will be AI will fully just embed itself within the film industry, or do you think there will be changes or there'll be a halt to it? What's your thoughts on that?
It's very difficult, this one, because it's almost like, when have we ever seen technology stop? So far, every time it's always progressing. It's always progressing. So it's a difficult battle. I think it's wrong because, we have these stories are mostly about people, and these people are the people who are creating these stories off of real life experiences, or they're sitting and going somewhere in their own mind, exploring their mind and creating a fantasy world. You know what I mean? So then you have this technology that comes along and does it in 3 seconds or less, and it just instantly puts people out of jobs. So no, I definitely don't agree with it. But the other thing is, you have a studio system that's also fighting for it in such a strong way that if you don't fight now, I don't think you're ever going to get what you're owed as a writer or a gaffer, electrician, anyone on the movie industry. So I think the time to fight is now. but it just seems it's terrible. There's people moving back home from here. People are losing their jobs, and the studios seem like they're willing to take it, to the max. So as far as the technology goes, it's useful on, like, I can't deny it. Like, if I wanted to like put something in or know something, or just ask a quick question so I can see what it says and do my own research off of that can help me move faster in my day-to-day life. But as far as like, taking people's jobs or this, like, doing things like this, it's not cool at all. So it's gotta be some type of regulations. They gotta come to some type of agreement, with that. We were here first.
Yes, definitely. It'll be definitely interested to see where that goes in the future. With yourself, Tyler, want to go, because we're on topic of the future, in terms of yourself and your own career, what sort of legacy would you like to leave behind? Let's say in 10, 15 years from now, or maybe even further into the future, how would you like to be remembered, let's say, in the film industry?
I don't know. I don't know. I think what I want more so is not even in the film. I just want to leave my mark here with people. You know what I mean? Whether it's through the vessel of filmmaking that catapults that to happen, that's cool. I just want people to. I want to be able to, give some type of guidance to people that are coming up. I'm moving into the race world more, so I'm trying to offer pathways into racing for people of color. So and all people, but like people of color, like we're pushing hard, because like I didn't have a way to get into racing growing up, but now doing some of the things that I'm doing within the racing world, I'm having a door possibly be open to have that for other people. If I can do something like that with my legacy, that's what I'm trying to work on.
And what are some of these pathways in motorsport? Because you mentioned getting people of color into motorsport, like opportunities. What sort of projects you've been working on?
Right now, I'm working with a company, MFT, that is they're developing a program to have race car drivers come from America, and we're working with another company, the 11010 Foundation, where they're training, kids in school. They're showing them aerodynamics, engineering, all these aspects of racing that you wouldn't normally get where you live. Showing them like that side of the world, and kids are really interested in it. So we're kind of creating a pathway for seeking out high talent, like high racing talent, and developing a program where they can move into racing.
Is that just for drivers, or is it for like mechanics, engineers as well?
Be for mainly drivers to start off with, and then we would be running teams and stuff like this. So we would have open doors for engineers, mechanics, and things as such. So we're working on that right now. Yeah.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what race series have you shot?
DTM and SRO. Yeah, the European GT World Challenge.
With some of the American series, like your Indy cars and your NASCARs, have you had much involvement with the American series, or is it mostly just the European ones?
I've gone to like IMSA races and stuff like this, but I haven't been involved shooting them. I've shot there, like in the pits and stuff with Lamborghini and teams there and stuff like this. But yeah, I wasn't really like on commission. I was just able to shoot. Yeah, I do like IMSA. Like that whole series is really cool.
So, and what would be the dream, Tyler? If Formula One came knocking the next day and just said, we'd love for you to shoot, would that be one of the dream goals, or you might be different?
No, definitely going to the Formula One. That's definitely on my top tier bucket list there, because that was a goal from day one. So I think I'm going toward the right direction to make that possible somehow. So I'm gonna just keep pushing.
I mean, you mentioned earlier that you were wanting to get more people help out with initiatives to get more people of color into racing. I mean, Formula One themselves have done a big push with diversity in motorsport with We Race as one. So, just wanted to ask you your thoughts on it, Tyler, in terms of Formula One's message and just getting more people from diverse backgrounds into the sport. What are your overall thoughts on Formula One in terms of how they're pushing the message to get more Black people or people of BAME backgrounds into the sport?
Yeah, I think it's great as long as it's real and true. I think it's great. You know what I mean? As long as the real intentions are there and the actual effort is really being put behind it, then I'm behind it. Yeah.
You know, being a photographer or being a filmmaker, you know, when things go well, it's fantastic. But when things go wrong, sometimes it feels like, it feels like the end of the world, or you feel like weight is on your shoulder. In whatever you've done, especially when it's the lowest moments, when through work or whatever, what gives you the motivation to pick yourself up and keep going?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's like, yeah, it's like, for example, in photography, like it's cool because sometimes, I don't know. Well, I have like these moments where I go through periods of like really great. I feel really good with what I'm shooting, and then I'll go through a period where I don't feel like anything is good. I feel like everything is trash. You know what I mean? But I like it because I've been through the period enough to know that it comes and goes. So when it does come, I'm like, oh, I'm stuck. I already know I'm gonna feel like this, but I know it's gonna come back around. So I just like put my head down and I just shoot through it until like it starts happening again. I try to do that. Or if I also like, if it's other things like that and I get down, I like just try to remember like what it took me to get here, or you know what I mean, or highlights or strong points, and then I'm like, all right, nah, I got this, or something like that. You know?
In terms of your whole career, I mean, again, this might be a bit more personal, but what would you say your mission in life is?
Oh man, it's got to be to help people. You know, I think that's really. My mom is like that, man. Like she helps everybody. She works with like teen mothers in the school system and stuff like that. And she's retired now, but yeah, man, like she's definitely an inspiration. I couldn't be around her for any kind of time period without that rubbing off. So yeah, she gave that to me. I gotta,
Were there any films you watched in the past where you were like, oh, I wish I was in that scene, or I wish I directed that bit?
Oh man, yeah, Fast and Furious, man.
Which one? All 10?
The first joint, man. The first one, man. It was just the time, man. Like when that came out, the whole movie theater was it was a whole car show. There was probably not a single car in the car lot that wasn't fixed up. It was just like you walk out, it was a whole car show. So we went in that movie like, yo, they better not mess this joint up, man. Because if it was this for the culture. But yeah, after like watching it, it was like, dang, man, yeah, I wish I was there for that.
And actually, being a motorsport head and a car enthusiast, you know, what's your favorite car of all time?
Oh, all time, man. Oh, the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. They actually just released a new version, like maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. But that car is such a beautiful car. Like it's a beautiful classic car, 60s car. I think probably though the other one, I have to say this one because it's so legendary. But I was at Imola in Italy and I seen like this BMW M1 Pro car. Man, that joint came through the chicane at the top and it just like went down toward the downhill and it was just blowing like 8-foot flames, just like out the rear. It was just like the beautiful thing I've ever seen, and the car sounds amazing. So yeah, that car forever will be etched in my mind.
That's beast of a car. But what we're going to do now, Tyler, is we're going to head over to the free bonus questions section of the podcast. But I'm just going to warn you, the first question I ask, it's fun, but I do judge my guests on the answer that they give me back.
All right.
And this could determine whether we carry on with this podcast as well. So here we go. Drum roll. Does pineapple belong on a pizza?
Oh, nah, bro. Nah. I mean, all right. So I started. I had pineapple on pizza like around the time when Ninja Turtles was popping back in the day. And I liked it the first time, and then after that it would never taste the same. And yeah, it's been ruined for me for the whole time.
If you could have a special ability, what would it be and why?
That's a very good question.
We only ask good questions on this podcast.
If I could stop conflict in the world, that would be a superpower I would take.
So, if you could throw a dinner party later on this evening, Tyler, and you could invite 3 people, living or dead, to this dinner party, who would you invite?
Oh well, Aaron Senna's pulling up. That's for sure.
Senna, yeah.
DMX is coming.
Oh,
DMX. Oh.
where the dog's at? Yeah. R.I.P. DMX.
R.I.P. DMX. My mom.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. Most definitely. She got to be there for that one.
Oh. Do you think your mum could put up with DMX at the dinner table?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I could just picture it like now. Like I can see Senna. He'd be trying to get a word in, but DMX would just be like just talking nonstop, and everyone's just enjoying it. And his Senna's like, oh, okay, I can't say anything. But no, that would be a really good dinner party. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could turn up there. You know, for the listeners, you know, where can they find out more about you? You know, social media links, website. Where can they go?
Probably best place right now is going to be my Instagram, Tyler Rousseau, Tyler_Rousseau.
You know, we look forward to following you on your journey, and then, you know what, we could see a feature-length film in the cinemas directed by Tyler Rousseau. So I'm putting it out there. I'm putting the positive energy out there, and we'll get you back on. We'll get you back on as a guest in the future. Brilliant. Yeah. So thanks for being a guest on the CVBB podcast, Tyler. And we wish you the best in your journey.
Thank you. Likewise.
Awesome, Tyler. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Cheers, y'all.
Care.